Hi, welcome to another studio chat with Alex Cosper on sactv.com. Today I want to talk about the Sacramento economy, how, according to a few sources, Sacramento is now one of the most expensive cities to live in America. Um, I'm not making this up. I'm getting the information from the internet. Okay, if this were 50 years ago, I'd be getting my information from a newspaper or a other news source like that, like TV or radio. I wouldn't have access to this kind of information just on my own. Um, and at that time, it's funny, 50 years ago, um, the United States was going through an energy crisis and a recession, and everyone was complaining about high prices. So that's kind of where we are today. But just a little review, and I've got a couple songs at the end of this video that thoroughly explain these situations that we're in. One that the cost of living is just shooting up before our eyes, and two, we have access to information on the internet that helps us prepare for this. Okay, so you can find out things about the economy on the internet that you're not going to really find out on regular mainstream uh, media, like even local media. I don't think is covering this. That Sacramento is one of the most expensive places to live in America now. Now, I want to qualify this by saying that I don't know if these sources are correct or not. I know that um, Redfin, which is a real estate site, they're kind of like Zillow. You type in an address of a home, any home in the United States, and it'll tell you an estimated value of that home. But that's not the exact price of what the home would sell for. That's just their guess. Okay, they have algorithms and all that figure this stuff out. But I don't necessarily think they're always the best source to find out this information about the value of a certain property. But anyway, on their site they have blogs, kind of like news blogs about real estate. And one was published on February 21st of this year, 2025, ranking Sacramento at number 9 under a headline, The 10 Most Expensive Cities in the U.S. in 2025. You have to understand that Sacramento shows up high on certain lists of national things, sometimes air pollution, sometimes, at one time it was most affordable cities to live, but I can't say that anymore. I can guarantee that it's not as affordable as it was at one time in comparison to San Francisco and other California cities. But to say that it's number 9 most expensive city in America now, I don't know where they got that from, but CNBC, which I would consider a more respected news source for financial information, they published in July their top 10 most expensive places to live in the United States, and Sacramento was not on that top 10. So it's in fact it's only been on this one list, this Redfin list, where I've seen Sacramento ranked as one of the 10 most expensive cities in America. I've checked some other lists, U.S. News. They didn't have Sacramento on there for their list, and but I can tell you it is expensive everywhere you turn. Food prices, grocery prices are high, but that's everywhere in the United States because of supply chain issues, and the general economy, the way it's playing out. The Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates, which is helping the stock market. It's not helping lower grocery prices, as the Fed observes with its data that those prices have stabilized. They act like it's no longer an emergency to fix high prices at the supermarket. So going back to 1973, that was I was 11 years old in 1973, and I remember clearly that energy crisis, which led to the recession, which led to high prices, and just the whole 70s decade was considered kind of a financial downturn. And so the main thing is I didn't know why this was happening back then, but now I've learned a lot about history. That's why I'm writing songs about history. I call them info songs. And you'll hear two at the end of this video. One called 1973 Energy, about the energy crisis. And that'll be followed by a song called the Computer Revolution Medley, which helped empower us as citizens to learn more about our economy and our way of life, and to figure out prices. The cool thing about the internet, it lets you find prices before you go to the store. And you don't necessarily have to shop through Amazon. I don't have an Amazon account. I don't have anything to do with them. Other than I like Whole Foods Market because of their organic selection. I walk to that store, and that gives me good exercise. But the cool thing about the internet is you don't have to drive around and waste gas now to find the best prices when you want to buy something. If you're trying to be a competitive consumer who's trying to buy at the lowest possible prices. So I've always kind of been that way, and I like using the internet as that tool. But it's energy prices that have really strangled the economy since 1973. You have to understand what happened back then, and I didn't when I wrote my first song, which you'll hear, called 1973 Energy. I wrote it when I was 11 years old, but I rewrote it later on once I learned more about how the energy crisis unfolded. It was President Nixon defending Israel, because Israel was in a kind of a conflict with its Arab neighbors, Egypt and Syria, and so Nixon pledged military support for Israel, and the retaliation from the Arab world was to create an embargo. In other words, limit supply of oil that was shipped to the United States. And that caused the price of oil to skyrocket for the first time in most people's lives of that era. They saw this, skyrocketing oil prices. And so I remember that clearly. Back then I was living in a home that was considered a nice middle-class home in South Sacramento. That had the price of the home was $17,000 in 1967, and the value went up to $29,000 by 1978. So I just know those two dates. I don't know what it was worth in 1973 or 74, but you can kind of figure that out. It was still very cheap compared to today. Well, home prices, they fluctuate. Sacramento apparently had a better year last year. So I don't know what's going on with real estate prices, but this idea that home prices always go up and up and up no matter what, it makes you forget about if you believe in that myth, then you forget about the housing crash of 2007. There was also a bubble in the 90s where there was up and down movement in pricing. I've studied the real estate market enough to know that these are kind of like inflated prices. When, if the median home price of Sacramento is in the $400,000 to $500,000 range, that's where you find median home prices in certain parts of the Sacramento area. You can find prices as low as 100,000 maybe, or even other fixer-upper prices. But you'd have to be an investor to buy a rundown house of that price. Anyway, I just want to say that the home prices and cost of living, it's become pretty obvious now that that's put a strain on society, and that a lot of people's troubles are deeply rooted in their own financial situations. I told you last time in the last video I made that I was starting to really do really well in the stock market in terms of constantly winning, like it's over 90% at this time. But my way of playing the game is very different from other like traders, like day traders and swing traders. I try not to be greedy about it. I take what the market gives me. So I'm a different kind of trader. I'm my own trader. And I think everyone has to learn their own trading system if they pursue stock trading as a money-making venture. It is possible, but remember that most people lose money at it. And I was losing money at it most of the time I was playing it until this decade. I've learned some tricks and some strategies that have made me profitable. So particularly in 2025, I'm having a really good year. But again, that's me learning my own system through trial and error after losing a lot. So the stock market is kind of like a casino. It's kind of like a gambling thing, except if you apply strategies, rules, and you frame it in certain ways where you're only doing certain types of trades that you've experienced through experience. You've based it on patterns that you've seen that are just repeating patterns. That's what I do. I look for repeating patterns, and then I limit my time in the market. Is very important. But anyway, I'm just letting you know that's how I'm getting by in this strangled economy, is I'm making extra money in the stock market. So now I want you to check out some of my songs about economics.
1973 energy. 1973 energy. 1973 was a bad year for you and me. With the high prices, energy crisis, there just wasn't time to be free. 2 years after ditching the system backed by gold, the story started growing old. The economy was deeply recession bound. The chief's approval ratings were going down. Weapons deals led to the oil embargo. Long lines at the gas pump. How far were your cargo? Lots of people claim to see a UFO flying faster than rockets could go. 1973 was a bad year for me and you, but some things were good, like women's rights and the returning of a POW. Music gave us legends we'll never forget. The singer-songwriters were more popular than the president. 1974 was like the year before. More recession and war. Pardon the White House revolving door. The oil handle. Inflation's getting harder to handle. That's the story buried in history of 1973 energy. 1973 was a bad year for you and me. With the high prices, energy crisis, there just wasn't time to be free. 1973 energy. 1973 energy.
The computer revolution changed everything around us, including media and communication. Now I don't send letters in the mail, I just write email. I don't subscribe to newspapers anymore, so I don't care about their propaganda anymore. Cut trees down just to tell me about some same old war, same old endless war like before. I don't care anymore. TV makes you dumber, radio's a bummer, so I spend my time on my computer researching history. History, it's no longer a mystery.
Y2K, millennial bug. Yeah, like a sci-fi play, like a perennial drug. You better beware of the media scare. Billions spent, lines were bent. In 99 it was the end of the line. Doomsday darkness down the road. Problem solved with just 2 lines of code. Y2K, no big deal. Those who ignored it weren't affected. Was it even real? Millennial bug. Y2K, split your hair. Over and overdone media scare. Disaster was rare. Opportunists everywhere. Get your Y2K survival kits, full of expensive tips and digital trips, and you better stay hip. Better be hip to Y2K. They try to trouble your mind. They want you to feel you'll be left behind. This is a story of an internet-only band. They never sold any concert tickets yet. They have
haven't sold a single CD yet. They never ever been on TV yet. They just sell their music on the internet. Well, I don't want to pollute the environment. And I don't think it should be a requirement for me to have to burn a bunch of CDs just so that they stack up to the ceiling in my garage. For years and years till finally I have to pay someone to take it to the dump. I think it's better not to waste paper or plastic. Yeah, I think it's better not to waste paper or plastic. Internet only, internet only, internet only, internet only. Internet only band had a plan to only sell downloads, so they never had to pay the CD manufacturer, and they never had to send it in the mail to anyone, 'cause they could just email the link to anyone. Internet only, internet only. This is a story of the